Creatine monohydrate, people. There it is. There's evidence-based research that's coming out in the last couple of years recently that is pretty strong in letting us know that creatine monohydrate helps increase muscle mass with training. So this is awesome. It works for young people, and it's showing that it's working for people of advanced age. And it's also showing that it's helping with things like bone density and reduction of fall risk in the population that is older. So this is all fantastic. But because this is kind of new, I have a bunch of questions that I want to talk about. Question number one, what's the standardized dose? How many grams am I supposed to be taking? Am I supposed to be taking it every day? Do I take it just before the workouts? What's going on with that? Number two, can I just take creatine and get benefits? Or do I have to work out and take creatine? That's another thing that a lot of people tend to ask me. Number three, do we need to worry about our liver, our kidneys, in terms of metabolism and excretion of creatine? Because after all, it is a foreign substance. And when you put something in your body that's a foreign substance, you kind of want to know about that. You want to get some education with it. And also, as a physical therapist, I have two musculoskeletal orthopedic things that you had definitely better consider if you're going to be taking creatine as a supplement to your exercise. So let's tackle all this and answer all these questions. I'm Dan. This is the Angry Physio. Let's go. So question number one, what is a standardized dosage for creatine monohydrate? By the way, I'm saying creatine monohydrate because a lot of the studies that I'm reading are based off of creatine monohydrate. There's another type of creatine called creatine HCl, which I don't know that much about. So this is more focused on creatine monohydrate. So of course, first thing I did is I consulted the Google AI, and Google AI said something along the lines of take 3 to 5 grams of that per day. Now, what I think the bottom line here is that they're kind of feeling this out still. When something new starts to be tested in the medical community, in the scientific community, in laboratories, they kind of work towards a consensus over this over many years. Another example of this would be marijuana or THC. I think there's a push in the scientific community and in the industry to get a standardized dosage for that, and that looks like that's coming out to be about 5 milligrams. Don't ask me why, I just know that. But in terms of creatine monohydrate, AI says 3 to 5 grams per day. But some of the research that I've looked at that test how much people have gained strength from doing trials of creatine monohydrate, that's kind of all over the place. So if you look at this information here that I'm showing, this meta-analysis, in some of these studies, they're pumping up their subjects with 20 grams of creatine per day, and that's kind of a lot. And they're doing this just to see if this is having an effect on increasing muscle mass, etc. There are other studies that start it with 20 grams or 10 grams a day, and then they kind of taper it down with the exercise training. So they're trying all sorts of combinations of exercise to see what type of results that they're going to get. So stay tuned with that. If you're going to take this, of course, talk to your doctor. Maybe start on the easier side too, and see how it goes. Question number two, can I just take creatine and expect to get some type of gain, or should it be used as a supplement to resistance weight training? From what I've read and from my personal experience, don't take it and not exercise. You need to take this. And what I have found and what the research is pointing to is that taking creatine actually increases your energy store so that you get a better workout, so that you're able to do a little bit more. You're able to test those muscles and tire those muscles out a little bit more. And that is how gains are made. When you work a muscle to fatigue or to failure, that is where you make your gains. And creatine, it looks like there's a pretty decent evidence base that's saying that this is going to push you, it's going to allow you to do a little bit more. And just as a little personal note here, I'm going to put up on the screen. So I've been doing creatine now for about a month. And if you can look at this info right here, I just wrote down how many repetitions of a standard bench press that I could do using the same weight. And I'm comparing myself from before taking creatine to a couple weeks of taking creatine. Now, notice before, you can see with my 4 sets of dumbbell presses, I was doing 20 reps on the first set, 18 on the second set, 15 on the third set, and 12 on the fourth. Now, granted, I am an N group of 1, so take this with a grain of salt. It's just me. There could be like an expectation bias, or I could have been having a good day, whatever. But after taking creatine for a few weeks, and I was taking 10 grams a day every day before my workouts, I am up to, as of the last time I did this, 20 reps on the first set, 20 reps on the second set, 20 reps on the third set, and 18 reps on the fourth set. So this is the same weight, mind you, but I was able to do definitely more reps, and I felt like I was able to chase more of a burn. And if you want to gain muscle strength and muscle bulk, that is the way to go. And as another little adjunct here, taking creatine, it appears that there is at least moderately strong evidence showing that for individuals of advanced age, taking creatine in some of these studies is decreasing fall risk, which is huge. And probably the reason why fall risks with some of these subject groups are decreasing is simply because they have better muscle, more muscle, especially in their lower extremities. So it helps with, when you increase your muscle mass, you probably are at a lower risk for falls because you're stronger. And like I said before in the intro, there's also some evidence showing here that it has a positive effect on bone density. So this is beneficial on many levels. So if you're a person of advanced age, like myself, talk to your doctor about that. So make sure that you're okay to take this. And if the doctor gives you the green light, give it a go. Now let's also talk about metabolism and excretion. The good news here, at least with the meta-analysis that I'm seeing, is that even when they are pumping decent amounts of creatine into older people, and often frail older people, their kidney function and their liver functions are okay. So it looks like creatine is metabolized and excreted without having a huge stress on your system. Fantastic. It just seems like the news keeps getting better and better with this. I have to say, though, I have seen a few little disclaimers out there saying that if you're taking creatine, you might feel a little bit upset in your stomach. You might feel a little bit bloated. So keep that in mind. And if that's happening to you, I have also read that the creatine HCl, which is the other form of it, is more dissolvable and easier on your digestive system. So that might be an option. But once again, like I said before, a lot of the research that's coming out is not on creatine HCl. It is on creatine monohydrate. And I think the assumption is that they have a very similar effect. All right, now here's my advice, aside from the evidence-based research. This is my advice as a physical therapist. So what I've noticed is that when I started taking creatine, like I said before, my workouts, I was able to do more. I was able to add to the intensity of the workout and thus get hopefully more muscle gain. So keep in mind, though, that your body is still your body. So if I'm working out harder, one thing I notice right off the bat is DOMS. You guys know what DOMS is? DOMS is short for, or it's an acronym for delayed onset muscle soreness. So after you work out and you challenge yourself, your muscles are gonna get sore. And what I can tell you definitely is that from taking the creatine supplement and then doing the workout, my DOMS went up. And I had one workout a couple weeks ago where I worked out on Sunday, and then Monday I started to feel the soreness come in. And on Tuesday, when I went into work, I felt like I wanted to crawl underneath the treatment table and die and just go into a fetal position. Like I had not felt DOMS like that in a long time. So the consideration here is expect to get an increase in delayed onset muscle soreness and act accordingly. You may need more days of recovery in between workouts that are more intense. It's kind of logical. So don't push yourself through this. Let your DOMS subside and then hit it again. Now, of course, as you do this, time and time again, you may find that the DOMS starts to fade down because your body's acclimating to it. But, listen to your body. And our second consideration is this. When your muscles and tendons undergo a sudden bump in intensity in training, there is evidence out there that supports the notion that muscles remodel and get stronger faster than tendons do. So why am I telling you this? Your muscle becomes the tendon and the tendon attaches to the bone. So they're one contiguous structure. If your muscles are getting strong too fast and your tendons aren't keeping up with it in terms of the remodeling phase and getting back to like a baseline state, that's a problem. And you may start to notice symptoms of tendonitis, tendinopathy, that type of thing. So you need to be very aware of what your body is telling you if you're going to train with creatine. What does that mean? That means if your tendons are starting to get sore, or if it feels not DOMS, if it feels pathological to you, then you need to pay attention to that, and you need to allow for the extra rest to allow it to recover completely before you hit it again. Now with the kids, with like the teens and the 20-somethings and even the 30-somethings, this usually isn't a huge issue. Recovery usually happens kind of quick. But with 40s, 50s, and beyond, you got to be hyper vigilant and hyper aware of how your tendons are feeling. And does this feel like just regular onset muscle soreness, or is this something else? If it's something else, calm down. If you have any questions, or if you have any tips or any more knowledge about the creatine monohydrate or HCl, drop me a line. Thanks for watching. And as always, give us a holler, give us a review, and subscribe. Happy to help you guys out. Take care.